Hi everybody and welcome back to your IBS Answer Portal that is sponsoring IBS treatment and cure. Today's video is R104. Actually, I'd like to talk to you about another amazing discovery I had made this past week. This discovery is actually a confirmation for my theories on the cause of IBS and the effective treatment protocol. This really reinforces my treatment protocol. I'll clearly tell you, medical research has not done controlled studies on this, and the sole reason is it costs a lot of money, and in addition to that, the end result is not going to produce a pharmaceutical drug that they can make millions off of that will be treating your symptoms and not the causes of your disorder. Before we go into that, these past two videos, R102 and R103, I discussed Dr. Amy Coleman, who is the creative founder and proprietor of WellSmart. WellSmart is 21st century medicine. I want to be very clear that you understand. Dr. Coleman is not a gastroenterologist. Dr. Coleman is a primary care physician, a general physician. She has advantages over a lot of people in medical practice. Her background of all the experiences she had throughout the world, her background in treating soldiers, in the Air Force, in generals, and practicing medicine and treating people in foreign countries gave her a stupendous, broad knowledge of experience in medicine. The reason why I'm bringing it out to you is although Dr. Coleman is excellent in handling digestive disorders, and she is a ubiome smart gut physician, she is not a gastroenterologist. So I want you to be clear about that. But what advantages Dr. Coleman has is she looks at you as your whole person. And mind you, if you read my book, I talk about how the brain and the head were decapitated from the body. You don't realize it, but your brain is the master organ. Your brain controls all. Today's video, we're going to talk about what's on that screen. All those cakes and cookies and breads you see are gluten-free. Now this ties into what I'm talking about, the amazing discovery and reaffirmation of my theories on the etiology or cause of irritable bowel syndrome and the effective treatment protocol. And that is, my wife and I just came back from a cruise. What is amazing about that is two observational things that occurred. Number one, it's no great surprise to you, America is going through an expansion, an explosion. And by those two terms, I mean human expansion. People are getting larger, more obese, and we have increased medical conditions. There is a symptomatic problem in medicine, and it's labeled metabolic syndrome. What metabolic syndrome is a combination of three destructive forces that occur at the same time. Metabolic syndrome is hyperglycemia or high blood sugar, hyperlipidemia or high blood fats, and hypertension or high blood pressure. All those three disorders combined together are destroying people's bodies. They are destructive, they are shortening people's lives, and in addition, they're causing multiple medical disorders. And these all can be prevented with proactive medicine. It is purely a matter of education and the willpower if you want to do it. If you doubt anything I have said in my book or in all 35 videos, do yourself a favor and talk to a relative. Try and speak to a great-grandmother, a grandfather, a grandfather. Even speak to your mother. Ask them, in their generation and in their times, did they have all these medical diseases or conditions? I'll clearly tell you, chances are no. And how do I say it? The cruise we were on was a large ship of 4,000 people. I don't mind telling you, it was a hog fest. People ate like you couldn't imagine. Because in their mind, they think it's free. They go to a buffet, they take a plate and pile on food. What they eat in one sitting, I don't eat in 3 days. Mind you, that's one plate of food. It is sheer gluttony. And the people eating those foods, if you were to look at them, their physiques match the plates of food. And I'm not being ugly. What I'm trying to say is these poor souls don't understand what they're doing to their bodies. So since I am gluten intolerant and lactose intolerant, when I went to a dining room, they respect your dietary conditions and wishes. So I would tell the server that I'm gluten intolerant and lactose intolerant. No problem. And they prepared the foods that didn't have any dairy. They prepared the meals for me that either were potato or rice or gluten-free pasta. And I never got ill. So during the course of that week cruise, I got to interview these people who work on the ship. Who were these people? They were all nationalities from Asia. All the restaurant staff were Filipino. I got to ask them, I said, tell me, in your country, before you came to work for an American cruise ship company, did you ever hear of irritable bowel syndrome, ulcerative colitis? Did you ever know of people that had those conditions? Does your population have that? She goes, absolutely not. It was the biggest shock to me. She says, we never heard of it. And I'm from Manila. She says, almost non-existent. First time I heard of it, she said, is I had relatives that moved to New York City. Several of them, a couple of years later, developed IBS. So I said, isn't that interesting? And of course, it has to do with diet. So I asked her, what does your diet consist of? She says, none of the foods that you Americans eat. First of all, for breakfast, we could have some fresh fruit. We have rice. Everything is white rice based. For lunch, we have usually some fish and, again, white rice. For dinner, we have a white meat, which could be chicken and it could be pork, and it is with white rice. They do not experience, or are they, gluttons. They don't overeat. They eat 3 major meals a day, snacks in between, which consist of fresh fruits. So you understand, we have created this modern day disease by abusing our intestines. In addition to that, we abuse antibiotics. This upset and changed the microbiota within your gut. This is very important to understand because that's what occurred. We have done that to ourselves, and that is a bad thing. The change in the population in the bacteria caused the damage to your gut. Today, children, 2/3 of our pediatric patients all present with pre-diabetes. That's frightening. How many people have metabolic disorders? IBS is a functional disorder, and we created that dysfunction. Hard to believe, but I'm telling you it's true. I can now tell you I never get ill anymore. And my digestive system finally healed. And all of that is based on Dr. Matthew Tisker at Vanderbilt University. It took me almost 5 years for my brush border to return to a normal functioning brush border. And as a result, I don't get sick. I don't have any of the symptoms. I don't have any of the problems. I still adhere to those products that you saw on the screen before. They are so available to you in America today. You can get extensive choices in Whole Foods for varied varieties of breads, cookies, cereals, cakes. It's endless. And if you are lactose intolerant, not all people who have IBS are lactose intolerant. But as our population ages, many people have varying degrees of lactose intolerance. It is a matter of discipline and a matter of education. That is why I ask you to read my book. It clearly explains it to you. This is vital and important. We have to turn this major crisis around. We are creating ill children in America. And it's sad. The amount of obesity in America, those children will eventually end up with multiple functional disorders in their digestive system. The reason why I am so aligned with Dr. Amy Coleman is she comprehends modern 21st century medicine, and that is treating the whole patient. What is the gain if you were going to go for an undiagnosed medical condition and go to a orthopod when it had nothing to do with the skeletal system or bones? What would be the point of going to a cardiologist if you're suffering from diabetes? The point is you need a physician who can grasp what is wrong with that patient. And that takes time. That is a comprehensive intake exam. And in addition, it is the ability for the physician to listen to the patient, to interview the patient, to clearly understand what is their ethnicity in terms of their dietary choices and their habits. It's very important, and I ask you to understand it. You can turn around your health very easily by following all the things I'm telling you. But in terms of WellSmart, Dr. Coleman's concept, that's what I drove across to you in those 2 previous videos. And if I made you misunderstand about the fact that Dr. Coleman is not a gastroenterologist, I apologize to you. But the fact that she is a smart gut physician is clearly an aid to you. There are tools out there now through the UBiome project, this smart gut project, where they are mapping and cataloging all the bacteria within your gut, your alimentary canal. And that is what it's all about. They provide kits for you. You provide a stool sample. You send it back to them. They give you a detailed, comprehensive analysis of all the species of bacteria within your digestive tract. It clearly then tells you what possible conditions you could have based on those pathogenic or disease-causing bacteria. This is vital and important. In terms of what I'm talking to you about with lactose intolerance, and gluten intolerance. These are due to damages to your gut. Concerning gluten intolerance, if you go and tell a person that you're gluten intolerant, you're going to get a lot of negative feedback. That's a fad diet. You don't need it. The bottom line is there are varying degrees of gluten intolerance. And the reason why people have that attitude that it's a fad diet is because it didn't always exist and now it's existing. Well, this occurred within the last decade and possibly 15 years ago. And I'm not singling out the food industry, but it's a great, great problem. Gluten is in incredible amounts in food today. It is an additive. Normally, when your grandmother baked bread, that gluten was absorbed when she let it sit in the refrigerator when it was dough and it was curing before she then baked the bread. The yeast and the gas helped break down that gluten. Today, it is added into all this quick rising flour. It is added into cookies, cakes, candies, everything. Even your medication that you take, capsules for antibiotics, have gluten in it. So it's a large molecule. It's just like arsenic, is highly toxic and will kill you. Yet in small amounts it's allowed. Arsenic exists in rice. Arsenic exists in our water, but it's minuscule, minor amounts. Your body can handle small toxicity. But when gluten became blown out of proportion, where now they're putting it in potato chips, pretzels, everything, read the labels. It wasn't always that way. That's why you have your condition. It's a confluence of multiple things that occurred that are influencing your dysfunction of your small intestine. So I want you to clearly understand that. But if you want to get better, it takes time. It took me almost 5 years for full recovery. And remember, I talked to you about this with celiac disease. Celiac disease is the extreme of gluten intolerance. It is a genetic disorder. People have an immune and autoimmunological problem where the gluten becomes almost poisonous to them. And it causes an immunological response which destroys the brush border within their intestine. Children who continue to eat gluten and they don't have medical care, they literally could die from celiac disease because they have malabsorption or no absorption of food nutrients within their small intestine. So it's very interesting. Their only treatment is total abstinence of gluten. So I know I spoke to you for a long time, but this is a lot of information. The bottom line is I could show you all the photographs, but there are endless products out there today that are gluten-free and lactose-free. There is no reason today why you can't treat yourself and get better. Just be perseverant, persistent, and patient. Follow everything that's in all these 36 videos. And if you really want to have a clear understanding, in layman's language, read the book. It's like taking a guided tour from your mouth to the end of your alimentary tract. You will understand how food breaks down. And I'll guarantee you, you eat that donut, you haven't got a clue what happens after you had that first bite of taste. Do you know how it gets broken down? Do you know what happens to it? Your body's an amazing machine. Why don't you look at it and spend the time? It's your body. Try and understand it. The more you understand, the better off you'll be. Ignorance is a dangerous thing. Intelligence is a great thing. And if you're intelligent, you will comprehend you will function better. You'll have a better life. So if you're interested, Dr. Amy Coleman is an incredible physician. Check her out at wellsmartservice.com. She is an important guide for you if you're interested. But in the interim, please, if you wish to contact me, you can. I've previously given you the information, and feel free to contact me. And I will post under this video my email address. Any questions you have, even if you're interested in a consult, I will provide my phone number. Feel free to call me. I will give back to you what I learned, because I got tired of being with 6 different gastroenterologists, being on antibiotic treatment, Xifaxan, 5 times, and end up getting sick again. I haven't been on medication or seen a gastroenterologist in 4 years. You could do the same. So stay tuned, contact me if you want, and follow this and continue. We're going to get into more interesting videos. So be well, and thanks for listening. Talk to you soon.